Hi ladies, hi Chance, this is Cindy, and I'm finally able to talk a little bit about my POW bracelet. This is just a great story. So as you know, I am working to be a volunteer or a docent at our local Palm Springs Air Museum. They have a new hangar that is dedicated to Korea and the Vietnam War. So after the hangar was up and running, they had a visitor, and the visitor found one of the docents and said, I have a POW bracelet. The bracelet that I bought when I was in college, or a young woman during the war, I purchased, and the person on my bracelet never returned, so I never had anyone to give the bracelet to let them know that I had been wearing their bracelet, with their name on it to remember them. So they asked the museum docent if there was any chance that they said, I want to honor the memory of the person whose name was on my POW bracelet. So can I leave it here and donate it to the museum or what? So what happened was evidently the museum said, yes, leave it here. And so they had a little acrylic box with that person's POW bracelet displayed, their name, the person who turned it in, and of course the soldier's name was on the bracelet. And then lo and behold, they did a newspaper story on this lady who came in and donated the bracelet. Well, after that, people started mailing in their bracelets, bringing their POW bracelets into the museum. One thing led to another, and I will show you the pictures of all the POW bracelets we now have in the Vietnam hangar. You will not believe it. So awesome. Then they put up an entire wall, and I have pictures of the wall, with the picture of the soldier that went to Vietnam, the person who wore their bracelet, and the person that wore the bracelet during the era when this person was fighting in Vietnam. And then the story about the two of them. So they have that lined up against the wall, hundreds of them. And I've got great pictures, and you're going to recognize one person that I'm going to share a picture with. So it kind of goes on and on. So for example, evidently in I think the 70s, maybe the 60s, when Sonny and Cher had their variety show, they did a little spot about that they had purchased a POW bracelet, and they announced the name of the soldier that they were remembering on their show. Then after their show was over, they had that POW come to their show and introduced him to the audience, and everybody cheered and clapped that, yay, he's home safe. So there are a lot of little stories like that on display, either in poster form or in a video form, or just added to the wall in some type of display. I think by showing and sharing these POW bracelets, it's a great way to honor our vets. Remember, there are POWs, MIAs, and KIAs. So all of these soldiers are remembered for their bravery and their courage. And I think it's also a wonderful part of baby boom history, because that's the war that was our generation's war. I know my husband was in Vietnam, and I think, like I've said earlier, so many of the people that I went to college with, ended up being drafted. And so that is the war that is my generation, and that means your generation. So anyway, this is Palm Springs Cindy, and I think you'll be delighted with the pictures that I have to share with you. The museum has a lot more than planes. Here's an example of an old Studebaker car. This wonderful Cold War timeline. When you stand directly under that acrylic-looking circle and look at the screen, the documentation and the speaker, everything he says, only you can hear. So as you're learning about the Cold War and the speaker is explaining, nobody else in the museum is disrupted. Only you can hear. This is the wall that houses all the pictures of the people who returned the POW bracelets and the soldier to whom the bracelets were in remembrance. Look how many are on that wall. It's phenomenal. So I am wearing my bracelet to honor this soldier who died in action, and also so that anybody in my community who might notice it and remember the POW bracelets, I then can say that yes, our Air Museum has a new wing on it dedicated to the Vietnam War with helicopters, memorabilia, and a whole wall dedicated to the POW bracelets. And by the way, as a side note, two ladies, when they were in college, they got the idea to have these bracelets made, and I believe they sold them for $2.50. And by everybody who bought one of these and had the name of someone fighting in Vietnam, it was a way of our country to remember our soldiers and to remember that they were still over there fighting. So this was a great, this caused a great surge of interest and concern about getting our men out of Vietnam. So kudos to those two ladies. All right, if I have any more side notes about the bracelet, I'll type it up and put it in the video. But until then, you guys, this is Cindy saying until our next conversation. Mwah. Love you guys to bits, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday. Bye-bye. Wait, don't go. Enjoy the pictures.